Let's run back the clock a little bit. About 8 months ago in April, I read my first ever manhwa. A pretty unknown series called, Solo Leveling. I don't know if you heard of it. I read the whole thing in under 24 hours. And looking back on it, it's pretty funny. I remember that I slept over at a friend's house that night, the same day I found it. And when I woke up, I was the only one awake, so I just continued to read it and read it to completion. And let me tell you, that floor where I slept was not fucking comfortable, but I did not care. I was wearing jeans, uncomfy as shit, but it's safe to say I was still hooked. The story, the art style, the characters, everything about it was great. And so, there I was, an addict, looking for his next high, but what could possibly compare to the masterpiece that I just read? I mean, I scoured for another banger until I found it. I fucking found it. It was beautiful, let me tell you. Maybe it's because I read it shortly after watching Jobless Reincarnate, but the first thing that struck me was just how similar the beginning of the two stories were. Both starting by reincarnating into a new world, unaware of the special qualities of that world, until learning about it through being healed by their mother. And I mean, at first glance, the similarities are undeniable. The dad uses a sword, the mom is a healer, both parents are retired adventurers, the MC goes on to teach himself magic at a very young age. But despite these almost identical starts, as the story progresses, they grow farther and farther apart. And I think this similarity between the two is why I got hooked on the story right away. Because as I said, this was soon after, I finished Jobless Reincarnate, a series that I seriously enjoyed. And so when I found the beginning after the end, it was like I was able to see it again for the first time. While that may be why I got hooked initially, that's not why I stayed. But first, let me break it down real quick. In his past life, Arthur was a king, the strongest there was. But, like many kings, he was betrayed and died. He then reincarnated as a baby in a fantasy world. And, as in many manhwas, the magic system here works on levels. You start with a base and slowly build from there. In this world, that system is mana cores, something that Arthur develops at an extremely young age. And soon after he creates his mana core, his parents are like, yeah, we kinda gotta get this kid a real mentor. So they meet up with their previous adventure buddies and head out, only to be ambushed by a group of bandits. And amidst the battle, Arthur sacrifices himself to save his mother, sending him to his death. However, he's not dead. It would be a pretty lame story if he did, but whatever. He was saved by Sylvia, a dragon, and despite her menacing appearance, she nurses him back to health and treats him like her own son, which makes what happens to her all the more heartbreaking. He only knew her for a few months, but Sylvia will have a bigger impact on his life than anyone else. And from here on out, the story really opens up. One of the things I like about this comic is the variety. The story jumps from one thing to another. Elves, adventure, students. It hits all the trademark fantasy story tropes, but still keeps it fresh with unique and original ideas. It juggles a lot at once. Mystery, fantasy, comedy, revenge, all without being dragged down by such a large scope. But what made me stay for this story are moments like these. After reading Solo Leveling, the main thing that sticks with you are these moments, these badass moments where you could do nothing else but smile like a giddy little bitch. I call these the motherfucking manhwa moments. You're just sitting there reading and waiting for that asshole character to get what's coming to him. For the main character to just lose their fucking shit. And when it happens, oh, it feels fucking great. The beginning after the end may not be a perfect story. I'll be the first to admit that. It gets a lot wrong. But I honestly don't care, because it's fun as fuck to read. And if you're like me, I'll bet you like it. Till next time, peace.